Oh, Sarah, this is not your initial relationship with ASVOFF, right?
Yeah, correct. So Jason had a piece in the festival before, I think 3 years ago.
About 2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago.
ASVOFF 3.
Yeah.
So 3. ASVOFF 4. So, yeah, Jaime and I approached Sarah to do, to work on a film with us, to do a score and also be in it because we thought she was such a great character to play with and dress up. And
That won an award too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the first time that I did anything solo, and I'd been wanting to move in that direction for a while, but it's always great when a friend approaches you and kind of gives you that initial kick. And so we worked on it together, and it felt really natural and great, and we actually filmed some of it here while I was on tour on a day off.
And that was our first collaboration together, working together. We've been friends for a really long time, and we always know about each other's work. We've supported each other's work, but never had created something together. So that started a big process for us. And also, Jaime and I won the award at ASVOFF for that film, so it's pretty cool.
And so when I planned on making my album, and it was about to take place in Berlin, I had Jason come and accompany me the whole time. And so he filmed everything and was just there as like a...
We documented the process. And
why don't you post it on ASVOFF?
We will.
We will. We have to finish it. I have to finish. It's the making of. We also went to Prague.
Yeah, I recorded one of the pieces as a rearrangement with an orchestra in Prague, and Jason came to that. I love that he's in Europe, and every time I come over and do something fun, we can sort of collaborate a little bit more.
And then we did the promo for the album, and then we did...
Yeah, we went to a freezing cold barn in northern Quebec in April, which you'd think would be spring, but there was slush up to our knees, and we filmed this crazy thing in a barn.
Yeah, and so we had that as the promo, and then just kept documenting things. Her album finally came out in August, and we recorded the release, so we're going to put that all together. And
yeah, you were there for the release in Montreal.
Yeah.
And then you invited me to come and do this.
Yeah, so it's perfect. I think
it was great.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Foot stomping.
Good time.
Action. I think having Sarah as part of the festival is a really smart idea too, and nice. It really ties in with what we're about and the energy. Also because we won.
But it was nice to be part of it in being the human, the live human element as well, like as everything else is recorded and presented, and then you have this really raw expression, which is me, which is where I come in, being raw.
And when did you start in music, and what's the story with...
So I started playing when I was a tiny child, and they have a method called Suzuki, and you start when you're really, really young because your ears are... they're very open at that age, and so the method starts you really learning by ear, and it doesn't always translate into becoming an improviser or something like that, but it did with me. At an early age, I preferred the improvisatory arc of music, and I struggled with the more typical classical path, and I was very kind of defiant, and then by the time I was a teenager, I gave up the classical direction and was just trying to compose and do my own thing.
You want a coffee? No, the tea.
C'est ça. And that's where I met Jason. I was studying jazz and new music composition and video and fine arts in Montreal, and he was studying.
I hadn't started yet, but or maybe I had kind of started.
Bit, yeah.
But she was in school before me, but yeah, we went to the same school, and so we knew a lot of the same people. It's a very small city.
It's a school that a lot of people go and really find their own direction with. Yeah. It's interesting. If you don't do much, you don't have to do much, but if you're motivated, you can.
I have only good things to say about it, and I think that a lot of people that I know have come out of that school and done well.
What's it called?
Yeah, it's called Concordia. It's got a really interesting fine arts.
New
And
media.
yeah. They
Yeah.
allow you to really find your own direction. Which
If you're
worked-
willing to.
Which really worked for us.
Worked for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a while, but
I mean, I ended up majoring in electroacoustics, which is very different from violin performance or jazz or composition, but it opens your ears up in this way where you're discovering technology, but in a different way of hearing, and then a different way of approaching how to create sound. And then I took that literally into the music that I make, so that was an interesting process.
And how did Arcade Fire come into your life?
So I guess in my third year or so, a really good friend of mine was starting to collaborate with them. He was doing sound recording, and he was recording their EP, their demo, and that's Richard Perry. And him and I had started an instrumental ensemble that worked a lot with visual art and theater and dance. That was called Belle Orchestre. And we were quite active, and we were starting to do our thing. And so the two groups were kind of in parallel, just finding what we were doing. And so about a year later, I jumped in and started playing violin and Arcade Fire as well. And the two bands we were rehearsing in the same space. And on one of the early tours, maybe the first big tour where we went across North America, it was Belle Orchestre and this fantastic band from Montreal called Wolf Parade and Arcade Fire, and it was like this, we had all been friends for years. It was really, really, really fun, that tour.
I remember that.
That was a long time ago. And then since, all the bands went on to make a bunch of records, and Arcade Fire's now we're about to release another record and start that whole touring circus.
And then when you decided to make your own record, what was the motivation?
So I've always needed an outlet that spoke to the more experimental, instrumental side of music, because that's where I've always been. I really like pushing my instrument and the way I connect to it. And I've always been into minimalism and new music, and I like electronic music a lot as well. And so those elements I needed to tie together and express in a way on my own as well. And Belle Orchestre was doing a lot of that. It was a bit more of, a full-on ensemble outfit. But I decided that I needed to do it on my own as well. It's a totally different thing to create your own arc from start to finish and go through all that process of making, finishing, editing, figuring out if you like it, if it's what you're trying to say, and then putting it out into the world. I'd never done that on my own before, and it's been really, really cool. It's only been out for 2 months, my record, so this is we're in it right now.
And anything you can reveal? I know there are lots in the works that are secrets until it actually happens. Anything you can tell the shaded viewers?
About the band? Mm-hmm. Well, we released a single a couple weeks ago, so people are getting to hear that, and the album's coming out pretty soon, so pretty soon everybody's going to hear that record. It's pretty exciting.
What's it called?
It's called Reflector. Yeah, that much I know.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It's we just did Saturday Night Live, and that was our first kind of presentation to the world, and we filmed this special that got aired after, and it was really fun. It was just us playing some of the new songs in it.
Who directed it?
Roman Coppola. Roman Coppola directed it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece.
God,
It was
Jason
fun.
Last and Roman Coppola.
There you go. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So that's gonna unfold.
Great.
Yeah.
And how come you're such a short time in Paris?
So I came to Paris to play at ASVOFF, and then pretty soon we're right in the middle of starting rehearsals and doing television and stuff like that.
Another
So
secret.
yeah, I have so many secrets. No, but we're right in the middle of the beginning of things. So I was so happy to be able to actually come over here and do this. It worked out. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you both. Now you can eat your breakfast.
Thanks for having us.